Welcome back guys to the channel. I hope you're all fighting fit and well. Look, today I want to talk to you about a few things that I see beginner photographers make, and even seasoned photographers make these sort of like errors or mistakes where they don't really think about either what they're doing or what they need. So this video is basically for the person beginning their journey into photography and people that have been doing it for some time. Now, the very first thing that I want to talk to you about is tripods. Now, over time I've seen people that attend our workshops here in the mountains, they turn up with anywhere between a $2,000 to a $4,000 camera and lens. And then I see them produce a cheap tripod. Now, why they do that, I know why they do it. It's because they know that the camera is going to cost them a lot of money, but why do they need to spend a lot of money on a tripod? Well, the answer to that is for security, for stability. If you're just new to photography and you spent quite a lot of money on your camera and lens, and you've only got a little bit of money left, don't buy a cheap tripod with that little bit of money. I suggest get your camera and your lens and go out and start shooting and learn how to use the equipment. Then over that period of time, save your money and buy a good quality tripod. Now, good quality tripods start from anywhere from around $250 up to $1,500. Now, it all depends what camera you're using. Mirrorless cameras seem to be all the rage these days because they're lighter and smaller, and people are looking for that advantage. Well, you don't really need a big heavy tripod like this Benro here. This Benro here has an enormous capacity. It'll hold 20 kilos of weight, and the heaviest camera that I have in this studio here is about 6.5 kilos. That's the 1DX Mark II with the 85mm 2.8 from Canon, and that's a big unit and that's heavy, so that's why I use a heavy tripod. But don't buy a cheap tripod, for goodness sakes. You're wasting your money, and 9 times out of 10 it ends in tears for you. They break, they corrode, they rust, they fall to bits. And then you go out and buy another cheap tripod, same thing happens, and it's a revolving door with a lot of people that are getting into photography. So save your money and buy a good quality tripod. As I said, anything between $250 up to $1,500 will get you a very good tripod. If you're using a smaller camera, like a mirrorless situation, sure, you don't need to spend anywhere above $500 as far as I'm concerned. $200 or $300 will get you a tripod that'll hold that weight of that particular camera. So don't buy flimsy tripods, well, especially when you're first starting out. The next thing is people that are new to photography, and I often see these comments on social media. They want to know what the best editing program there is. And they're just starting out in photography, and they ask a question like, just started out in photography, I want to know what the best editing app is, or the best editing software program that I can use. Well, if you're just learning photography, I suggest forget about editing your images. Just forget about it, because if you don't know the fundamentals of photography, being light, composition and structure, well then no amount of editing will save a bad image or a bad photograph. It's as simple as that. That's how it works. So if you're new to it, forget about editing programs. If this is the first time you've picked up a digital SLR or a mirrorless or whatever it might be, forget about editing your images. Wait at least 6 months. Get to know your camera, study it, chase the light, learn photography, read about it, study it before you even go down the path of editing your images. So if you're new to photography, please forget about that. Just concentrate on learning how to use your camera, learning what photography is all about, and then practicing that craft until you get it right. And then, and only then, if you feel right, then look at the editing process for your images. Now, the third thing really is angled for seasoned photographers. And I've made this mistake plenty of times over the years. And that is, you go out and you take some really nice images, fantastic shots, and you can't wait to get back home to put them in the computer and start editing them and going through the post-edit as soon as you get home. Now, I learnt very quickly on in the piece that I needed to stop doing that because you're out there in the field, you've taken some, as I said, some really nice shots, and you can't wait to get back home. It's to start editing them. Well, you're rushing. You've still got the hype of being where you were, and you know you've taken a good shot. So you're sitting there in front of the computer and you're doing all this, and you're editing and editing and editing, and then you put it up there for everyone to see. Now, I can guarantee you this. You look at that image in 3 months' time and you think, I could have done a better job at editing. And you could have, because the adrenaline was still running through your body. You just had to get home and edit that image and put it out on there on social media. A bit like a little kid at Christmas time. He gets out of bed, races out to the lounge room to see what Santa's brought him. It's all a big excitement. What I like to do is go out, say I go out on a Wednesday and take some nice images, doesn't matter where I am. I don't look at doing a in-post edit for about 2 days after the event. And the reason being is that I'm calm, I've got the door closed here, I can sit in front of the camera, got a nice cup of coffee, and I can take my time to edit my images. I'm not rushing because I want to get it out there in front of the masses. So allow yourself at least 24 hours between you taking the shot and the time you edit your images, because you will find that if you do that, the editing process will be a lot smoother, a lot easier, and you won't have to go back and re-edit again because you were doing it through excitement. Bit hard to understand, but I think you know what I'm trying to say there. So try not to edit your images straight after taking them. Just get home, put the camera away and edit your images a day or 2 days later. Sometimes I wait a week before I edit the images because I'm calm, I know exactly what I want to do, I know exactly what the effect I need to have to finish creating that image. And then I let everybody see it or I print it out. So that's it, that was the editing. Don't edit straight away. Cleaning cameras. Now, this is another thing that I see, well, I don't see a lot of people do or even talking about, and that's cleaning your camera and your lens and the glass on the lens and also your sensor. Now, a lot of people are frightened about cleaning their sensors inside their cameras, and I get that. The very first time I cleaned a sensor, I was as nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. I was very nervous, you know. So, but cleaning your sensor is very, very easy to do. I know that it's daunting the first time you drag that little scraper brush across the face of your sensor. I know it's a bit nerve-wracking, but try it and be very careful and you'll be surprised how easy it is. If you don't want to go down that path, take your camera to a professional service centre to have your camera cleaned, as including your sensor. But I clean my own sensors and I do that probably once every 3 weeks, and I tend to clean my equipment before I go out on a shoot. Right, so I clean it before I go out on a shoot, and then I come home, do what I have to do, then I re-clean it again the next time I'm going out on a shoot. That way I know it's done before I go. I'm not wondering, did I clean it last week or I can't remember. So try cleaning your equipment and try cleaning the sensor yourself. If you're not efficient or you don't think you could do it, take your camera to a service centre to get that done. I highly recommend you learn how to clean your own equipment. The next thing that I want to talk to you about is planning. Now, I plan everything in my life, a bit OCD really, and without planning, well, the old saying is, if you don't plan, you plan to fail. So with planning, I think it's very, very important that we all do it when it comes to photography. One, because it saves you time. If you're planning on going out, most people can only shoot on weekends. They don't have the luxury of some other people, like I can shoot any time during the week when I don't have any work on. But if I'm going out, say on a Friday, to do a private shoot or a shoot for somebody, I know exactly where I've got to be and I know exactly what I've got to do and what equipment to use. But if I'm going out for myself just to take photos of the waterfalls here or go coastwise and look at seascapes, if I'm going to do that on a Friday, I will start looking at the weather on Wednesday afternoon. What are the tides doing? What's the rainfall going to be like? Or what has the rainfall been like? So planning your photography ventures is so important, very, very important to plan where you're going. That way you'll know what equipment to take, and it just makes your workflow so much easier, and it enables you to concentrate more once you get at your location. So planning is a very, very big thing when it comes to our photography. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is when you go out on a shoot and you use your tripod, which is what we do with landscape photography, but you don't move around. You don't move the tripod, or you don't move around looking for different compositions. Now, I've spoken about this many, many times. Tripods are excellent for low shutter speeds, as we know, but they can also be a hindrance for a lot of people. They put the camera on the tripod and that is it. They do not move. Not very good idea to do that. Move your tripod around, move your camera around, and look at different angles and different perspectives that you can capture by just moving to the left or moving to the right, or lowering the tripod down or raising it up high to get that elevated shot. A tripod is an excellent tool to use, but you've got to use it correctly. By just putting it just in one position, it's not really worthwhile for you to do that. You'll just get the same shot all the time. So move your tripod with your camera on the tripod. Don't anchor it to one position. The next thing is also about, again, tripods. I see people out in the field, and it doesn't matter where I go, I see people taking photos, and they've got their camera on the tripod, they're all ready to go, and they're hanging onto their tripod. Why would you hang onto your tripod? I mean, any bit of shake is going to transfer into that camera body, and you could have a blurred image. A tripod's there to steady the camera. So if you're using a tripod, and this is for the new people out there, if you're using a tripod and you've got your camera on a tripod, don't hang on to it. Don't touch the tripod. The tripod's there doing its job. So take your hands off the tripod when you're using it. The next thing there would be, for the new people again, don't let social media dictate to you how your images should be. The old saying is, you don't shoot what you see, you shoot what you feel. And what I mean by that is, when you're out on a location and you're in a beautiful, great location, before you even take photos, just have a look around and absorb that into your body, absorb that into your mind, and get the feeling for the location. Because photography is all about feeling as well. It's not just about the technical side of things. So really, don't let social media dictate to you how your images should be. I think a lot of new people to photography get on these social media sites and they see these highly edited, highly HDR images, and they think, well, I want my images to be like that. Well, that's not the way to think. Seriously, that is not the way to think. The only person that needs to be happy with your images is you, the people, or the person that's taking the image. If you're doing it commercially like me, my clients have to be happy because they pay me. But if you're out there just taking photos, the only person who really has to be happy with them is you, the person taking the photo. So don't take any notice of what's being said on social media. I believe social media does a lot of damage. It's good in one respect and bad in the other, because there's people out there that feel a bit insecure when they see images that have been highly edited and highly constructed, where really that image isn't true to the eye. But people take that on board and they think, well, I'll never be any good at photography. That's a load of rubbish. You go out and you create images for yourself. You don't let people dictate to you how your images should be. Now, I know that sounds harsh and probably a bit arrogant, but that's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. You shoot for you, nobody else. So that's it. That's it. That's all I've got to say today here at Sniper Photography. As I said, if you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button and the bell next door so you don't miss anything. Other than that, The next video coming up will be under that bridge at Bear Island, and hopefully I'll have a clear run at it without any people in the way, such as Chinese fishermen, which is okay. And I'll do that this Friday. The tide is perfect. I can get under that bridge and I'm looking forward to that. I've already pre-planned and I know exactly what equipment I've got to take and how long it will take me. So that's it for another episode of Sniper Photography. As I always say, be nice to yourself, family and friends, but most of all, you keep shooting, keep smiling, and bye for now.